Good morning, everybody. My name is Karen Kong, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Ottawa, Ontario, and welcome to this or that Thursday. Every Thursday or every week, I try to post 2 cards in my group, and I ask my crafting community, that's you guys, to vote on a card for me to make live on Thursday mornings. And today's card is a very clean and simple card. It was a close call between this and the other card, but I was surprised. I thought that this card was missing something. I was working on it late last night and I really felt like it needed something more, but several of you said that it looked really great on its own, so I'm really happy to hear that. We'll make this simple card first, and I had a couple of suggestions and a couple of ideas to maybe step it up. So depending on how quickly we make the first card, maybe we'll try a couple of other ideas too, and you guys can help me out. Hopefully somebody will join in live, and if you are, please say hi and tell me where you're watching from. I always love to have somebody to chat with. My usual partner in crime, Sandra, is not joining us today. I already know that. So if anybody else is joining live, I would love to have you chat with me. So just give me a second. I'm going to switch my desktop so that I can see the comments as they come in while I'm crafting. Okay, so just give me a second. I'm just going to refresh it, make sure I can see the video feed and all the comments. Here we go. All right, great. All right, so I've got my desktop set up. I'm going to just move my camera to the desktop view so you can see what I'm doing. So just close your eyes if you're watching, because I'm going to switch over right now. Here we go. All right, I think that looks about right. Okay, so hi Tara. Oh, I'm so glad you can join me. Hopefully you can hang around with me for the entire session, because Sandra's not joining in today. I don't know if you have any meetings this morning, but always nice to have somebody to chat with. So today we're making this card, and I'll show you what we're using. I used the Phrases for All stamp set. I think this one is in the annual catalog. And oh my gosh, the announcement just came out this week saying that demonstrators get access to the new catalog, digital catalog, next month. So like mid-March. I can't remember now. I had it on my tip of my tongue, but I don't remember. It's mid-March. And I can't believe we're already at the end of another Stampin' Up year coming up. Although the catalog doesn't go live for the public until May 1st or 2nd, I think. But for demonstrators, we get to see it mid-March. And I've been hearing that this catalog is very different from the usual layout. So I'm excited to see what kind of changes they made and to see the new products. Anyway, so this stamp set is in the annual catalog. I don't know if it's going to carry over, but it was new as of last year, so it has all the I don't know, standard greetings like happy birthday, thank you, congratulations, and I think they intended this line to be like used underneath so that you could put like a big sentiment, then the line, and then some smaller sentiments to pair with it. I have not figured out how exactly I want to use that yet. It's been on my idea list for a little while. So anyways, today I did not feel like it fit with the congrats sentiment, so I didn't use it. But that's the sentiment, where the sentiment came from. And then I took I made bubbles using the pearl, which is this stamp here, from the Seaside Bay set, which I still love, and I brought it back. It's been like, this idea to use a pearl as a bubble has been in the back of my mind for ages, and I hadn't gotten around to doing it yet. And then because I felt like the card was just so clean and simple, I wanted something else a little bit of texture, and I added that by using a retired embossing folder. This is the Subtle 3D embossing folder. It's been retired for quite some time now, but it just adds a little something to the matting that I put behind the top layer. So, and the last thing is that there is pearls. I used polished dots. These are clear polished dots, just to add a little bit of dimension. I know it's not easily seen in the picture, and last night's picture was, well, anytime I take pictures at night, it's never going to be as good as the ones I can take during the daytime with natural lighting. So I'm going to redo those pictures so you can see them better. Oh, hi, Kathy. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so there is a little bit of dimension on this card. But if we have time, if I finish this quickly, then let's try it again. I might try it with Sandra's suggestion to add some clear embossing. The other idea I had was to die cut the bubbles. So I did go ahead and I die cut the bubbles, and I'll see how that looks. I just did some in pink. This is Petal Pink. Oh, and the other color I'm using today is Wild Wheat. So I know some people are not a fan of this color. It's kind of got a funny, I don't know, not like, it's just kind of like a little bit of a greenish tinge to the background. But I always thought this color looked like the ink version of gold. And you can't put it directly next to a gold piece of paper because it just won't, it won't look right. I don't find that it looks right, but I think on its own, it looks sort of like gold. I don't know, what do you think? Yeah, so I mixed the combination of Petal Pink and Wild Wheat, and I'm not too unhappy with it. Like, I think I like it. I tried the Petal Pink just on its own, and it just didn't stand out as much. I do like the combination. Okay, so like I said, this is a really simple card. I just took a regular card base, so I just made it into a square. So instead of being a final size of 4¼ by 5½, this is a 4¼ by 4¼ card, and then I cut my bases to fit within it. Okay, so I'll get started. Let's move some stuff out of the way, and we will get started on making this card. So I'll get my trimmer out, and we'll cut our card base. Oh, Tara says she thinks it looks like champagne, and that's what I intended it to be. I wanted it to look like champagne. It's quite dark when you do it the first stamp, so I stamped it off, but my ink pad is like really juicy, so I also have to make sure to push the inks aside to make sure that it doesn't glob, you know, the ink. Anyways, all right, so I created a 4¼ Okay, so this is where my brain has to think, because, okay, what did I cut this out of? Because I originally started with an original card base. So this is 4¼ yep, by 8½. Is that right? Yes, okay, so this is 8½ already along the width, so I'm going to cut it 4¼ wide here along the length. Okay, and then I will score at 4¼ as well. Okay, so that's my card base, and then let me just remeasure, because I actually cut these out of order. I did the base, and then I thought I would add the Petal Pink, so then I had to cut my mat down to size so I could see my edging. So this one is, oh, and if you're watching for the first time, I always put the measurements in my video description, so you don't have to remember everything. So this one's 3¾ and then the mat is 3 7/8, I think. Yeah, okay, so I need a 3¾ by 3¾ white mat. Let me just get out, where did I put it? Oops. Oh, I thought I had a smaller piece than that. Weird. Okay, so 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then a piece of Petal Pink. Petal Pink in, nope, don't have it. Oh, I do have a small piece over here. Let's see, what size is this? This one is, yeah, 3 7/8 already, so I just need to cut this way. 3 7/8. All right. I'm just putting away my papers. Okay, so there I have my 2 mats. Let's put that away. So I'm going to need a piece of scrap paper while I you know what, actually no, I'll do the sentiment first. Let me bring in the card again so you can see. Okay, so I'm going to do the sentiment first, and for this one I know that this is Sandra's going to be like, what? You're bringing out the Stamparatus again. Yes, I am. I would do this freehand, except that I want to line this up straight as well as stamp it twice, because I found that with the congrats sentiment, to get it nice and dark, I wanted to stamp it twice. Sometimes I can get it on the first try, but not consistently. So just to save time, I am going to put it on the Stamparatus so I can do it twice. Okay, so let's just line these up. So I line it up on the grid paper in case it moves before I stamp it again, and I know where to line it up again, right? So I'm just lining it up in this corner. Okay, so I need a stamp. So it's the congrats stamp. So let's put it down in the bottom right corner around here. So I've lined it up visually here, but what I'm going to double check once I put it on the panel. Sorry, this moved. I can see it moved. I'm going to use the grid to double check that it looks straight. So I'm going to use this grid and double check that it's lined up, and it actually looks really good. I'm not going to bother moving that. Okay, so let's ink it up with black. And I'm putting another stamp pad underneath here so that it lies flat and it's easier to ink up. The stamp pad and the ink pad and the stamp cases are about the right height for doing that if you want to do that yourself. So I think I need to re-ink my black ink pad soon. It's looking a little bit light. Anyways, okay, so let's press that on. Actually, that looks pretty good, but you know what? I'm going to do it a second time just to make it nice and dark. But it does look good already. All right, so that's good. Let's clean that off. Okay, so now I'm going to put the other one. So originally I had stamped both sentiments at the same time, but I found that the smaller sentiment underneath couldn't sit right up against, like I couldn't put it close enough because it was hitting the plastic for the other sentiment. So that's not the right one. Where's the one that says pop some bubbly? Here we go. Yeah, so I couldn't put it close enough, so I'm going to stamp them separately this time. And again, I'm going to line it up visually here, but I'm going to double check it on my panel once I've adhered it. Okay, so the trick now is trying to get it off of my finger. All right, so I was careful there because the apostrophe was like sitting on top of the G. So see how it kind of stuck to the paper? And it's pulled it down just a slight bit from where I had originally lined up. So I'm just going to move it back up a tiny bit because the words are small, even just moving it down a couple millimeters could make a difference. So I'm just gonna check. Okay, I'm not gonna let it touch so that it doesn't stick again. And I'm just double checking here, and I think that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and ink it then. Yeah, Tara, I really hope they find another Stamparatus tool that they can use or work out their legal issues, because I love my Stamparatus. Here we go. See, my bubbly word did not come out as dark, so I'm just going to ink that again. Don't think I need as much on the other end, but it's mostly the word bubbly that did not come out as dark. That's much better. All right, done. Okay, so Tara, did you finish your card last night? I know you were working on a card late like me. I don't know if you made a final decision or not where to put your sentiment. Tara's on my team, so we share cards in our group, our team Facebook group. And it's nice to bounce ideas off of each other. Okay, so I'm just going to get a scrap. Where did it go? Okay, so I have some scrap. You can see I was doing all sorts of stamping off there. Oh, you're going to put the sentiment at the bottom, like the original. Yeah, it's sometimes you just need to try things out and see how it looks. Sometimes I get stuck in my head trying to do it, like visualize it in my head, and I have to remind myself to just do it on the paper because it's much easier to decide that way. All right. So here's the Petal Pink. The Petal Pink ink pad is not as wet, so I don't have any problems with it. I'm going to do, I'm not going to bother stamping off because the color is the way I want it to be. And if you see the lighter ones here, those ones are the second stamps, like the stamping off, I don't know what you want to call it. It's the stamped off color, right? So to get like lighter versions, but these other ones here are the original color. So we'll go with that. So we'll put a few of these on. You don't have to press too hard. It's it looks pretty good just the first time you do it. Okay. Okay, so this time I'm not going to re-ink. I'm just going to stamp it again right on top. See, then you get a lighter version. And let's put one over here. And up here. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the wild wheat now. Yeah, Tara, that's what I do all the time. Like when I assembled the other card, I did not glue anything down until I was happy with the layout. You know, because you have to play with what it's going to look like until you can figure out, you know, spacing wise and, you know, how many of, you know, whatever embellishment you're going to put or whatever. It's nice to just play around with the layout. Okay, so like I said, my my wild wheat ink pad is quite wet. It's very juicy, and so if I stamp with it directly, here maybe I'll just show you. If I just stamp with it without brushing the excess ink aside, I find that the images, if you can see here, some of them you can tell. See, it's not clear. Like you can see there's kind of a gathering of ink in certain areas because it's too wet. Okay, so it'll be better, and even when I stamp off it still has that problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, this is an old credit card, and I'm just going to take the edge and gently brush the ink to one side so that I have a section that's not quite so wet. I'm just cleaning off my credit card. Okay, so now when I stamp with it, you see the difference? the shading and the absence of ink in other areas comes out more distinctly. This one was much heavier. Can you see that? Okay, so for my card, I did not want the dark color. I wanted a much lighter color, so I'm going to stamp once here and then stamp off, and then use the second, I don't know what you call it, if there's a name for that. The stamped off image? I guess that's what you call it. Okay, so I'm going to stamp once here, and then I will stamp once on there. Okay, so stamp here. I'm going to stamp a second time actually, because the lightest one looks good too. See, that's 3 times. This color is quite dark. Oops. Oh, I didn't get any on myself. Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, and let's try 3. Okay, so let's turn this around. I think I'm getting a bit of an edge there, because maybe I could not press so hard, and maybe I won't get quite. It's also if it's very wet, so you get that edge. Okay, 1 there. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more pink, and that's it. This is a really clean card. So let's just bring my this is called a squeegee. I can't remember what this is. Words escape me. I don't remember what it's called right now. Okay. So a little bit more pink, but this time I think I'm going to add it in the stamped off version, so it's lighter. I'm going to put it up in the corner. Maybe a little bit more here. And you should turn your stamp around, because the shading, then you can vary the shading a bit. I don't want to put too many, because once you get too far, you get too many of them on, it's not clean and simple anymore. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. Chamois, thank you, Tara. Oh my gosh, I could not think of it today. Brain is not working. I stayed up too late last night, tired. But I did get this done, so I was happy with that. All right, so that is basically the card, and it's useful for any kind of like congratulatory occasion. I was thinking more for wedding, but really this could go for any sort of milestone, birthday, or a graduation. You know, I think this could be used for any of those. Okay, so let's use this Petal Pink, and we will emboss it. I'm going to make some room on my table for my cut and emboss machine. Okay, so this is a 3D folder, and I'm just going to grab the folder, and I'm going to put this inside. Now, because they are straight lines, I am lining it up along the top edge inside, so that the lines will be pretty much straight. Okay. So you see, it's just a really subtle texture, and hence the name. So where's my card base gone to? Here we go. So a really, really clean and simple card. Easy to do, and really you don't have to do the embossing. It's like a very, very subtle detail. I'm going to use glue today. Oops. So I've only got a 1/16 of an inch to work with the edging, so I always line up in one side before I place it down. And I'm looking to keep all the spacing around the top, side, and bottom even before I put it down. Okay, so when I mounted this, I used dimensionals to mount it. So it gives it a little bit more depth, right? So don't throw away your dimensional sheet when you've got just edges left, because that's perfect for this kind of a card when you need like a lift on along most of the edges. I mean, you don't have to put it all along the edge, but I like to do it because it's lifting the whole card. And then I'll use, let's see if I have any other, yeah, see I have more leftover edges here. I just keep them around just for this reason. And that way you use all of your dimensionals and you don't waste anything. Okay, just going to use a little bit more on this side. And you can literally just tear them apart. You don't need to use scissors. Nobody can see what's underneath. And then I might just put a couple of dimensionals along the middle. Okay, I'm just going to take off all the backings and then stick it on. There we go. So I'm going to adhere it with the fold at the top, so it'll sit like this. Okay, it'll sit like a tent. All right, so again, I'm just going to lie down one edge, and I think that looks pretty much even. And then I'll lie down the other sides. All right, so the last thing I did was to add some polished dots. Let me get those out. I think these are retired, but maybe some of you have that in your stash. I also considered using just the basic white pearls too. Those would work, I think. So I'm just going to take, oop. All right, so I'm going to put one here. Here. And then, oh, I'm running out of the little ones. Okay, and then maybe one up here. 3 is always the magic number, I've been told. I think it works well. So there is the card. Now, the question is, what would it look like if I used dots like this, if I popped these up? That's what I'm wondering. Okay, let's put those aside. Yeah, so if I put these on, these will add some dimension. Or I could do what Sandra suggested and add a little bit of clear embossing. So let's try, you know what, I'm going to try the clear embossing. We have some time. If that's all you wanted to see, then this is the completed card. But let's try a little bit of clear embossing just for fun. If you're going to hang out for a little while longer, I'm going to grab another piece of paper. Let's see. All right, so let's put those to the side. Cut one more piece of matting. Tara says it takes away from the simple. Yeah, it does. It's just, I'm interested to see how it's going to look if we add just a little bit more dimension to it. So I'm going to have to stamp my sentiment again. Oh, I still have this one here, but I think this is a fresh new stamp. I hadn't used it before this, that it's like pulling. I'm going to stamp this one first since it's already on. See, I'm going to line it up to the original spot again. Oh, okay, I think, Tara, you were talking about me adding like the pop-up version of the bubbles. Yeah, so that's, the clear embossing will be very subtle too. So let's try that. Okay. Oh, that turned out well on the first try. Okay, I'm gonna, no, you know what, there's a tiny little bit of, I can see there's some letters that have a tiny bit of black missing, and that looks just perfect. Okay, so let's stamp the other sentiment. We need the congrats. Okay. Oops. Oops. It's very sticky. Which is not a bad thing. All right, so again, I'm going to check my alignment. It's very slightly off. Not much, but just a tiny bit. Okay, I think that should be okay. Beautiful. I love how crisp that looks. All right. Okay, let's set that aside. All right, so with the clear embossing, I'm going to have to stamp, I'm going to stamp the colors first, and then I'll go back and stamp on top with the Versamark. With the pearl, the shading is subtle enough, and clear embossing is very subtle, so I don't think it'll be a problem if I can't line it up again. I just need to get the edges approximately in the right spot. So let's do pink. I feel like it's farther away from the side this time. I don't know what happened. Did I not measure right? Yeah, it feels farther away from the right side, but let's just see how it goes. Okay. I should turn it and get variations in the shading placement. Okay. All right, so Oh, and one more in the corner. All right. Go back with the wild wheat. And once again, I'm going to brush the ink again because it's so wet. You can see it's moved back into the center. That's a good question, Tara. Maybe we should... I'm thinking we should do some. I don't think it'll work to do all of them. Let me just see here. I don't know why the ink look like it's not sitting properly. It's like blobbing again. That was better. I can tell that does not look good. I'm gonna brush the ink again. Okay. Oh, that looks much nicer than these ones, doesn't it? Do I have any other ones I should do? I feel like I'm missing a couple of dots somewhere. I'm not sure. I find it hard to figure out exactly where I should be stamping. Okay, let's put just one more here. There. Yeah, I think I'll stop there. Okay. All right, so here's my Versamark, and let's get a piece of paper that I can pour the embossing powder onto. Okay, so I have clear embossing powder. This was in my stash. I've had this for like, I don't know, probably close to 20 years. And they always still work. Okay, so let's take some clear and let's emboss. I'm going to emboss just the pink ones. I think what I'll do is I'm going to emboss this one and this one and this one and maybe that one, or maybe, yeah, maybe these. So let's start with this one here. So because it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Okay, so that one's got some Versamark, and I'm gonna hope that it stays wet enough so I can do all three at the same time. Like I said, because this is clear, I'm not as concerned with lining it up perfectly, but let's see how it turns out. Oh, I forgot to brush with my embossing buddy. Okay, so I can see already. I completely missed this one somehow. This one is like way over, but you know what? It's artistic license. I'm gonna go with that. And we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so let's emboss those first so I don't lose the powder anywhere. And again, this is my own heat gun that I've had for years and years, pre-Stampin' Up. Okay. Oh, okay. See you later, Tara. Thanks for joining me live. Okay, I'm just going to use my tweezers here to hold it so I don't burn myself. Oh no, I think I brushed it by accident. Shoot. I think I brushed this one off by accident. I'm just going to brush this off completely so that I don't get embossing where I don't want at all. Okay, so that one's gone, but I'm going to emboss the other two. Okay. So I always let my heat gun heat up a little bit, facing away from the paper, because otherwise you can warp it. I mean, it already warps the paper if I leave it on too long, but I just try not to start with it on the paper. Let's see. I do like the clear embossing, but I wasn't able to get it right on the pearl, on the bubble, and that's okay. It does add some kind of texture. Let's try one more time on this spot and see if I can get that. Actually, did this one dry? If it dried, then I can fix the embossing. Whoops, wrong ink pad. Let's try this one. So, let's hope I get it right on the pearl. And I'm going to do one down here too. All right. I'm not sure if I can't tell right now if I got the pearl in the right spot, but I think that one worked out really well. Okay. All right, so let's try this again. All right. Oh, it worked out better than I thought. I think I got that pearl pretty good. Same with that one. Okay, so we don't, if I just put it straight on top of here just to get an idea of how that looks. I mean, it's really subtle. The only trouble I had was trying to line up the pearls exactly, which is not terrible if you're not too far off. I think that looks good too. That's an interesting texture to add to it. Very, very, very subtle. You can't, I don't think you can see it, but maybe what I'll do is I'll take a better picture in daylight, in the natural light, so you can see it. And you can decide for yourself how you want to create your card, if you want to recreate this. So that is the card today. It was really simple, very, very simple. I just used the two colors, Wild Wheat, Petal Pink, and then the black, of course, and a very clean card and some polished dots. So hope you have fun, hope you try it out for yourself, and have fun crafting this week, and I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.